Hey everybody, and thanks for clicking on this video, but before it begins today, I'd love to thank the sponsors for this episode, Swagbucks. So, really cool service that I've actually promoted on this channel before, where you can earn extra cash and gift cards by simply taking surveys, playing video games, or even just shopping online. If you head to the link in the description right now, you can get yourself an extra $5 sign-up bonus. And yes, I have used this service before, I wouldn't have promoted it if I hadn't, and they're really great guys, so thanks again to Swagbucks for sponsoring. And you know what, you can make a little bit of cash on the side for doing things that you would be just doing on the internet anyway. Thanks again everybody, and enjoy the video. Salutations, my beautiful people! What the fuck was I doing? And welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not things deserve to be slaughtered or salvaged. And after last week and SpongeBob SquareBob Super Bob, I'm gonna fuck fan donation games for the time being. And instead take a look at all of my Christmas presents, which is good news for me because that means my workload this week will be pathetically easy. I only got 2. Well, first of all, I got these erasers that are based on the nativity, or it could be Eraserhead, I really can't tell. I don't even know what to say about these, but I suppose one thing I've always wanted to do is, rub Mary and a sheep together until they both start flaking. Oh, fuck. Or I suppose I could always use the face of baby Jesus to correct my spelling mistakes. What the fuck am I doing? Joseph, you are unclean! You must grind your sins away! And as for my second gift, I got a lovely game known as Getting Over It with PC Ploddy. And I call it that because I can't stand this fucking game and I can't stand PC Plod either.
My Christmas sucked.
Let me just begin this by asking one simple question. Why is this game, of all other fantastic ones released in 2017, being placed on top of such a romanticized pedestal of quality? I've not only seen countless Let's Plays for it, but also seen it appear in countless top 10s of 2017 lists and best PC games you must try right now lists, and honestly, I can't see why that is. You want to compare Cuphead to this? Are you fucking serious? It's because of memes, isn't it? Websites so desperate to stay relevant and hip that they'll say anything. But then if I wasn't trying to stay relevant, why would I be making this video? And yes, to stop all of you in the comments calling me out on it, no, I didn't beat this game. I couldn't beat this game. And honestly, after 2 hours of progress up to the sky and then falling right back to the fucking beginning again, I'm way too salty to even bother touching it again. The game broke me. But can we for 1 second not look at this as the game beat me and that's entirely the point, the developer won, well done. And please just look at the qualities of the game as it stands as a pay-for product and stop pretending it's high fucking art that deserves every award you can throw at it. I don't think this game is very good. Sue me. And you can accuse me of being so butthurt and angry that I'm just hating on it for no reason and trying too hard to be different or controversial, but whatever, that's your opinion. No matter what you say, I will not have my opinions of this game changed. I deleted it ages ago and I think it's bad.
And games like this are the hardest to talk about in any kind of video because if you say that you don't like the thing, then that obviously means to everyone else that you just want every video game to be Call of Duty. But then if you say that you love it, you're just conforming to the meme culture and begging for views, so, you know, fuck it. I'm actually here to say don't buy the game and don't have a look at it and don't share it around. At the end of the day, you guys came here for my opinions on my video, and honestly, I just don't understand the praise or the press that this game has got, and I don't see what other people are seeing, so what am I missing?
It's a shame too, because after hearing and seeing a few things about this game and already being massively into games like Octodad, when I saw it available on Steam for not too much money, I was like, man is in love. And then I came. But now, after spending ages on it and with absolutely nothing to show for it, I'm pissy and I'm gonna bitch.
It's extremely important to say right here, right now, that if you're somebody who wants to look at this game out of curiosity, don't fucking do it, because you're not the target audience for it. Masochists are the target audience for this game, and if you don't want to waste your money, don't bother.
This is another one of those built to be frustrating games, but the difference between this and other games with similar stars is that there's nothing of any substance here. And yes, I looked up the ending, I'd been watching PB and Jeff crying their way through the game, and if I'd persevered for any longer with the game, only to be greeted with those further parts of the game, let alone that ending, needless to say, I'd be even more pissed off. The entire game is just frustrating because it is. That's it. There is nothing interesting, engaging, or anything. It's just frustrating for the sake of being frustrating. It's I want to be the guy, except less varied, less creative, less funny, and you have to pay for it. And I don't think that's good game design, whether I'm the niche target audience or not. The whole game up until the ending is essentially a joke, and if at any point the game begins to make you angry instead of tickled pink, it's won, it's beaten you, and you need to know that going into the game. It will condescendingly mock you, throw you back ages away, and you just need to be okay with this being the point of the game. What do you do though exactly? Because it doesn't look that hard, I know what you're thinking. Well, here's the thing. All you need to do really is control the end of a hammer or pickaxe or Peppa Pig's head with a mouse and climb up a more difficult set of random bits of rubbish and rocks. That's it. Imagine it like you're travelling along the teeth of Ken Dodd. Getting over it with Ken Doddy. Once you understand that your mouse, trackpad, joystick or whatever is not simply the pointing direction of the hammer, but actually where you're telling your arms where your body should be pulled or pushed towards, your centre of gravity essentially, it becomes a little bit more bearable, but the physics and extremely sensitive movement are what kills any slight enjoyment I had, and still, half the time, it makes absolutely no sense. Sometimes you're light as a feather and bounce off the walls to the beginning again, and sometimes you're so heavy you can barely shift yourself up the tiniest slope. Sometimes Peppa's head will get stuck in whatever you slam into it, and other times it slips straight out, and I tested that son of a bitch out, slamming it in quickly and gently placing it on the exact same part of the stage, and it still seems to be random to me. There's no consistency or established rules to how the world works, and that's what makes it no fun for me to try again when you fail, because you have no clue what will actually happen on your retry, meaning that your sense of learning and improvement isn't even there. It seems to be luck-based half the time.
Gordon Bennett Foddy!
Postman Pat and his black...
And yes, I used a joystick for the majority of my playtime, but I played just as bad, if not worse, with a mouse because it's 10 times more sensitive, so don't bother telling me I was playing it wrong. I couldn't do it either way.
Could you with a joystick? No sir, I can't make it tick. Could you with a mouse? No sir, not without throwing my PC out of the house. I do not like this Bennett Foddy. I do not like him, Sam I Oddie.
From the off-the-wall dialogue narration giving you contradictory, calming poetry and philosophical looks at life and video game design, I do understand the point of this game. It's a tongue-in-cheek, insanely frustrating time about seeing how far you can push yourself but keep moving forward. And seeing as you can speedrun this entire game without glitches in under 4 minutes, the failure state isn't your character dying, but is just about you giving up. I get that, and looking at this footage, yes, I can admit there seems to be a knack to it that I'm not getting, but the thing is, it doesn't make the control style good. If you spend long enough on something, you can adjust to some of the worst control schemes of all time. Look at Peace Walker on the original PSP with the fucking face buttons being the camera and everything else working with every other button. Oh, I had to use my index finger on the face buttons of the PSP. But I persevered because I was enjoying the game, but here I just got no desire to do anything. And how many times does that point of you failing the game by giving up need to be hammered home after falling and losing up to half an hour's worth of careful progress for the 7th time? Do you laugh at your misfortune the first 2 or 3 times? Absolutely, that's the joke. And Bennett Foddy or PC Ploddy or Ken Doddy or whoever the fuck that is looks totally ridiculous as you try in vain to continue, but after, what, 10 minutes? The joke simply is not funny for that long because nothing changes. At least with other shit like, I don't know, Goat Simulator, yeah, the joke itself gets old, but there's tons of shit to do and many ways that the joke can be explored. Here, nothing interesting happens, nothing else is added, it doesn't look that great and it's just a mess, and again, I get it, I do, that's the gag, but at the end of the day, you pay money for this. Sure, it isn't a lot of money, but it's still money for a one-track joke that slowly grinds you down before you give up and move on to something else. For me, the entire point of the game wore out its value extremely quickly after I saw what it was trying to do, and if you want to compare it to something like, I don't know, Octodad, yes, the game isn't the same thing at all, but it's still built around wonky physics and intentionally difficult controls. The difference, though, is that instead of a bland, ugly, nonsensical nonsensical, uncontrollable mess that goes nowhere other than gives you bragging rights, there's a reason for the wonkiness, and it plays into the joke of this guy being an octopus trying to be a human. The puzzles and obstacle courses are all self-aware gags of a dad trying to do the most basic mundane things, yet it's made 20 times harder with him being an octopus trying to blend in. Plus, the story is funny, the presentation is funny, the audio and visual gags are fantastic, and yes, it isn't easy and is intentionally frustrating, but it's all entirely built with the same solid rules on how things move around and how you work with each limb that you control.
Even in Cuphead, I know it's a totally different genre of game, it isn't even in the same ballpark, but even if it's so hard that you have to rage quit it, there's still a drive to keep going. You want to see what insane animations will come up next, what next part of the amazing soundtrack happens, what incredibly imaginative and insane boss with all of its phases you're going to come up to next. ETC. Especially Tom Cruise.
This is just the same thing over and over again with slightly different backgrounds and totally random objects. Speaking of, to be positive for a sec, I do find the design of this guy very funny, but what exactly do you think his legs really look like? And it does feel good to overcome your anger, and there is some element of satisfaction to, well, getting over it, especially with friends around you, which is the only way I recommend this game can be played. That's when the humorous factor gets a lot more mileage, when you can bounce the ridiculousness off with your friends and switch around if you have enough. But when you really take a step back and look at it as a paid video game, it's just frustrating bullshit for the sake of frustrating bullshit with not much else going on, if you ask me. If you like that and you feel like you're up to the challenge, that's fantastic, but I can only recommend this to those who are okay with the tribulations ahead and nothing else. If you're a casual buyer looking into the hype and meme status, then it's possible you'll look at the relatively low price and spend the money because it's a low price, but then you may play for 20 minutes and never touch the game again, and for that kind of manipulative investment, I think your money could be better spent on better games that are leagues above whatever this accomplishes.
And so, I couldn't get over it, which means this game gets the slaughter today. And if it's your birthday today while watching this video, happy frickin' birthday to you. Please remember to say beautiful. And I guess I wouldn't be so mad with this game if it were free or something, but it feels like I just paid to take part in some shitty, cheap experiment. And yes, other developers have made way better games for much cheaper amounts in the past. And even if it isn't cheaper, for the good indie games, you'll get more effort, mileage, and point out of it anyway most of the time, so don't be manipulated by that tempting low price tag. If you're like me at least, then you'll just laugh a few times, get way too pissed off, and then realise you wasted the money and the devs pocketed it as you were just another victim to the meme status infamy train that got this game to be a bestseller in the first place. If you're really strapped for cash, just wait a bit and get something else later. Want to support the indie market? Get Cuphead. Bennett Foddy can suck my doddy.
Thanks so much for watching this video, everybody. I hope I didn't piss anybody off too much. And special thanks to all the people on screen right now who have donated to the show via Patreon. You can have a look at the rewards and everything in the description below, but no one's forcing you to. It's just really, really, really appreciated if you'd like to support the show in a further way. And special thanks to the top tier supporters: Omar Matu, Basil, Patrick Ferguson, Andy Ellis, Robert Alamsha, I Have a Portal Gun, Gamerman, Jane Ives, Carsten, Mitchell Reed, Tiago Pereira, Adi Thornton Smith, Oblivion Rising, Noxious, Kane Stewart, Ellen Rilpley, Kirsten B, QB, Nathan Young, and Nicole Ganara. Thank you again.